Hello friends, so welcome to this new video. In this today's video, we'll see how to deploy an web application on an AWS account. So let me just explain you this architecture diagram. So this is the diagram we are going to deploy on AWS. So in this video, we are not going to going to use any advanced service. We'll set up a web application on single EC2 server. So this is our end user. Whenever the end user requests our web application, that request will go to the route 53. Route 53 is our like a domain provider. Means here we have like a purchase our domain and managing our domain. So whenever that request will come on the route 53, then route 53 will transfer that request to our web server. So this is our web server, which contains the MySQL, then PHP, then PHP Laravel, and the Apache as a web server. This is about our like uh, architecture diagram. Then let me just explain you about the code base. So this is our like a code base. So this is not written by me. This is the random code base I found on the GitHub. So this is the code base, and this is the one folder SQL file. So this folder contains the uh, contains the database file, means database structure, means this is the kind of dump of the database. So we need to import this database dump in our like a database before deploying the application. So this is about the code base, and I have added the readme file where I have mentioned all the steps, like deployment steps, means whatever the commands you need to execute on your server, and all this configuration I have mentioned in the readme file. So let's start the implementation of this video. So one by one we'll cover all this component by implementation. So first of all, we'll see the how can we like create a networking part. For the networking, we need like one VPC, one subnet, and the security group for this web server. So let's start this video. So now I am in the AWS account. So search for the VPC and opening this in the new tab. So now I'm in the VPC console. So click on your VPC. By default, every region contains the one default VPC, but we are not going to use the default VPC. We'll create a dedicated VPC for our project. So click on the create VPC option. You will find the two options, VPC only and VPC more. VPC more will be the always gives more advantages to create multiple resources by clicking the one by clicking once. So let's select the VPC and more option. Name to your like an VPC. I'm going to give the Laravel project. Then you have like an CIDR. You can keep this CIDR. Then you select the IV4 CIDR block no, select no. Then select the number of availability zone. 2 availability zones are sufficient for this project. Then number of subnet, keep 2. Private subnet, keep 2. We need only one subnet for this video, but in the future video we need private and public subnet also. So keep 2. The NAT gateway, we don't need NAT gateway. Just click on the none option. Then S3 VPC endpoint, click on the none option, and here you can verify all these things. So this is the VPC. Then we have private to public, to private. Then we have like route table for the public route table, and the one public route table and 2 private route table, and 1 internet gateway. So we are good with this networking part. Just click on the create VPC. So all these components are created. Now when the VPC got created, you need to verify one thing. Does that VPC have the internet connectivity? So this is my VPC that I have recently created. Click on that VPC. Then in the you will find the main route table option. Just click on that main route table option. I think yeah, once you refresh it appears. So click on that select route table and verify the routes. If that main route table doesn't contain don't have that route to the internet gateway, then your VPC don't have internet connectivity. So click on the edit route, click on the add route, then select the 00. Here you can select the internet gateway option and select the internet gateway. Click on the save changes. Now your VPC also have internet connectivity. Now we are done with the VPC part. Network we create Now one thing we need, which is the security group for this web server. So let's create the security group also. Then click on the create security group option. Let's name it like a Laravel web server. Description you can give to like to protect web server, and then choose the recent VPC we have created. Then in the inbound rule, I'll add the HTTP, means this is a web application, so it needs like an 8443. Sorry, you have to select the HTTPS. This is our HTTPS, and then you can now add like an SSH, which is used to log into our like an EC2 server. You can select, you can add your own IP address, or you can keep it as a public. It depends on you. Click on the create security group, but in the production it's recommended that 22 should be allowed to a specific IP address, not publicly accessible. So we are good with the VP networking part. Now let's go and create a server for our web application. Click on the EC2 instances, click on the launch instances, name it like a Laravel web server. Then in the AMI, select the Ubuntu 24. Instance type, you can select the T2 micro or the T3 micro, any one of that you can select. Then select the key pair. If you already created a have key pair, then select that one, or otherwise you can create a new key pair. Then click on the edit option. Networking part, we have to choose our recent VPC and all these things. So by default, it has selected the default VPC, but we want our VPC, which is a Laravel project VPC. The subnet, select the public subnet 1. In the auto assign public IP, select the enable, and select the security group that we have recently created. So choose the option, select existing security group, and then select the security group. In the storage part, you can keep 10 GB. 8 also sufficient, but I'll go with like a 10 GB. Click on the launch instance. So click on the instance ID. So now our instance is now running state. Now copy the public IP address of this. If you wanna like attach the like static IP address, then you can attach the elastic IP to the server. But I'm not going to attach because I'm going to development as means it is kind of dev environment. So I'll go with the public IP address. So now log into the server. So I have like mobile system as my like so if you are like using putty, you can log in through the putty. I'm going to use the mobile system. At the IP address of the server, then specify the username. Username will be the Ubuntu, as we have like chosen the Ubuntu image. And in the advanced settings, choose the private key. So my private key is present in the downloads folder. So let me just open this. Yeah, I'm just going to name this session as a web server. Click on the OK. Click on the accept. So now I'm successfully logged into the my server. Now let's like do start the deployment procedure. So this is the my repo where I have mentioned all these deployment steps. I'm going to copy one by one and paste it on the server. This is the first command where I'm going to upgrade like packages on the operating system. So this installation will going to be the time, because every command will like take at least half minute or 1 minute for the execution. So second, I'm going to install some necessary packages like unzip, git, and the curl. Now we'll install the PHP, paste it, copy the command one by one and paste all these commands. Again, I'm updating, and the last I have this PHP command where I'm installing the PHP FPM and all other required modules for this project. So this is the command. Once this command will take, I'm just going to pause this video for a while. Now PHP installation also done. Let me just verify the PHP version. Let me just clear it. Yeah, PHP also installed. Then also verify the PHP FPM service, PHP 8.1. So PHP FPM service is also running. Now install the composer, which is required to deploy the Laravel project. So this is the composer steps for the installation. And this is the also the Laravel installer. I'm going to install it globally to deploy the Laravel project. Then install the node and npm also. Node and npm, I think this for this project is not required, but we'll install in case needed. Then we are good with like an application stack installation like in PHP, then Composer, then Laravel. Now then npm also we installation is in progress. Now we'll install the database part, which is the MySQL. This node thing will take time. Till now I'll explain you like an about the next future videos. So for the today's video we'll like do all the setup on the single web server. The next video will place the load balancer in our architecture. So whenever the user requests, the first request will come on the load balancer, and then it will distribute the traffic on the application. The third video will be the load balancer. Then we'll add the MySQL as RDS. Means now we have like an MySQL on our EC2 instance, but we'll use the dedicated MySQL service, means RDS database service. In the last video will complete going to be a secure. How can we secure our architecture? So this is the complete 3-tier architecture. Last video will be. Then we'll add place the web, then security group, then knuckle. We'll see all these things, how what things to keep our architecture secure. Just again go back to our installation. Let me now install. Now we'll again back to our original video and start the MySQL installation. Do the MySQL secure installation once when the MySQL is installed successfully. Is in MySQL now running on this with this process ID 20 and 6. Okay, how much time it's take. Okay, so now do the MySQL secure installation. Press the Y to the validate the password. Then enter the 0 as number. Then remove users. Then press S. Then disallow root login and say no. for this dev environment, and the remote-edge database, say yes. Reload privileges is, we have chosen the password as a low, that's why it is not allowing us to set the password. Now we have to set the password manually. So execute the command sudo mysql, then set the root password. So this is the alter user command which is used to set the root password. Then again plus the privileges. Again we need again you can, what you can do, again log out by exit command, and again log into the root user to just verify that password is working or not. Root and then -p, and enter your password. In case my is Laravel @123. Okay, so password is working successfully. Now we need a user for our application. We just, not user, we need database and also the user also. So let me just create a database, create database Laravel e-commerce. So this is our database name, just keep in your note or something like that. Then again we created the user for the for configuration in our application, because adding the root user credential in your application code, it is not recommended. So that's why I'm just going to create a new user, and now I'm giving that new user permission on the database, because this privilege is, and exit. Now we have created the database also and database user also. Now set up the web server. Install the Apache as a web server. These are the modules which is required to route the, for example, in case we added like a redirect rule in our configuration, then that time these modules are required. So that's why I'm going to enable this module redirect, then proxy module. Enable all these modules one by one, and then in the end you can start the service. Now enable the service once again, and then again restart the service, Apache service. Okay, so we are done with the web server configuration. Now the main part, we need to deploy the Laravel application, means we are going to pull the clone the code on our server. So whenever you are working with Apache, the recommended web directory is var www. So go to inside the directory, create a one folder for your application code. So I'm going to name that folder as a Laravel vendor commerce. Then Ubuntu user doesn't have permission on that folder, so let's give Ubuntu user is able to access to that folder. So now clone this repository. So this is the my repository URL, means this repository, and in the end I have given the folder name. So inside this folder, Git will clone this repository. Yes, repository is in cloning is in progress. You will see the number of objects and all these things. So done. Now give the permission. So again I'm giving the Ubuntu user permission. Then web server need to access the storage folder and the cache folder for the Laravel to put the cached content, and in the storage folder to put the logs of the application, and give the 7/7 permission to all those storage and cache folder. So now go inside your code, which is cd and then Laravel e-commerce. Let me just clear this. do a ll. So this is our code. So for this you need to, now what we need going to do is we will import the SQL file into our database. So go inside the SQL file folder. And so where is that folder? So this is the file folder. Just do ll. Here you will find the .sql file. So we need to import this .sql file into our database. So this is the command I have given here. So this command will import the this SQL file into this Laravel e-commerce database that we have recently created. Click on the enter and enter the password for the root. Okay, so database import is also done. Now we will verify is it that data is imported successfully or not. So do the MySQL, just clear screen, MySQL -u root, then -p, enter the password, then do a show databases, then click on the use and this Laravel e-commerce. Then now you do show tables. So you will see all these tables are imported successfully. These tables data which is present on that SQL file. So which SQL file? So this e-commerce.sql file contains all this data. So we have imported successfully. Now the next part is to configure the env part. So let me just go back once. Here you will find the env dot example file. Where is that? This dot env dot example file. So we need to convert this dot env example file into the dot env. So here I have given this command. Now open the env file and add your credentials. So app environment is local, we'll give it to the production. Then the app URL, our domain name is https, then underscore slash, then Laravel dot cloud dot com. This is our domain name. And then we have we need to add the MySQL credentials. So this is the host, that is correct. Then DB port is also correct. Then let's add the database name. So this is our database name. Then add the database username. Where is that step for database part? So this is the database username. Add the database password also. This is the Laravel @123. Just save this file. So now we did the all configuration for the env, we configured the MySQL database credential. Then also we added app env and also the app URL. So now the next thing is to that is that env also. Now we'll install the composer. So composer install will generate the files in the public directory. On the composer install, we'll install all these things, because this composer install and all these things are needed for the Laravel application. Whenever you're it will generate the optimized upload files. Then do a PHP artisan key generate. Click on the S. Okay, so application key set is successfully generated. Now the next thing, we'll verify that like in a locally first, is it that our application is working or not. So for that you need to execute this command php artisan serve and then host and port number. So this command will make like run our application on 8000 port. So now our application is running on 8000 port. Let me just go to the browser, then copy the instance public IP address and add the 8000 port in front of that. So this is not working because the reason is that like we have not allowed the 8000 port in our security group. So go to your instance again, the security group, click on this security group, click on the edit inbound rules, and here you can add the 8000 as a port, and click on the anywhere and click on the save rules. Now again you need to just reload the web page. Yeah, successfully our web application is able to listen on the 8000 port. You will see logs on here also. If I refresh, let me just enter again. Whenever I refresh, it will generate logs here. So these are the logs generated here. So now our application is working successfully on the port number 8000, but it is not recommended. We want to just access our application using the URL. So let's do the URL part now. Let me just close this tab. Again, you have to do this Laravel Apache configuration. So first, whenever you are doing the URL part, first you have to define the domain name. So you need this domain name. If you have domain name, you can use your domain name. Otherwise, you can purchase a domain name on GoDaddy. It will like cost it 200 rupees for the domain name. So I would suggest purchase your own domain name. Let me just. So this is the, now we are doing the Apache configuration, means web server configuration. So this is the configuration file that is also I added. Let me just paste this file. So I'll explain you what this file. So this is the 80 port. Our application will run on the 80 port and server name. So this is my domain name, laravel@cloudpitha.com. So this is my domain name. This is the document root directory, means this is the place where our code is present, application code in var www in Laravel vendor e-commerce. Again the same thing, and we added the directory, code directory, and here you will find the PHP FPM configuration, means whatever the PHP files that are present in our application, that needs to be rendered by the PHP FPM. So here I added the PHP sock path. So PHP will render the all application file .php files, and this is the directory, means where I am going to store my access log and the error logs. So that's it about this configuration file. So now we are just adding the 80 port because Let's Encrypt will automatically convert this 80 port into the 443. So 80 port is sufficient for now. Now what we have to do, we need to create the record for this domain name, for this laravel.cloudpitha.com. So let me just go to your my instance. So this is my I'm going to copy the public IP address, and let's go to the Route 53 service where I'm managing my domain name, which is Route 53. So this is the Route 53. Click on the hosted zones. Here I have my domain name hosted zone, so cloudpitha.com. So click on the create record and enter your domain name, which is Laravel, and this cloudpitha, which is automatically the suffix, and then enter in the value section, add your IP address, and click on the 1 minute timing. Click on the create record. So we have created the record. It will take like a half minute to propagate this log in sync. Let me just do next thing of our project. So now we added like this configuration file we saved. Now we have to enable this configuration file. So go to the cd/etc, then Apache2 sites available. So this is our configuration file, but this file is present in the sites available, so Apache will not able to read this configuration file. So let's enable this file so that Apache will able to read this file. So for that we have command a2 inside Laravel, means a2 inside means it will enable the Apache configuration file. Let's click on the enter. If you go back and again you can go into the sites enable, you will find that Laravel e-commerce which is enabled state. So we have successfully enabled that file. Now you can do systemctl reload Apache. Now let's verify that our domain name that we added, is it, yeah, our domain name is also in the sync. Let me just show you by the verifying it. So copy this domain name and go to the any random tool. I'm going to use the DNS lookup. So when you enter the URL and click on the DNS lookup, it will show the where this website is pointing. So you will find the IP address which is 13222, which is the our server IP address. So our domain mapping is also successfully done. If you paste the URL in the browser, then you will see the application. But now our application is running on the HTTP port, so just make sure. Let me just copy and open in the new incognito tab, because here it's redirecting to the HTTPS, but our application is not hosted up for the HTTPS, it's HTTP. So it will give the error like, initially it doesn't site doesn't support the secure connection. Click on the continuous site to site. Yeah. So now our next task is to enable the SSL certificate for this domain name. It's working but without SSL certificate. So just close this tab. So for the SSL certificate, I'm going to use a certbot. Certbot is a organization which provides this as a certificate for the 3 months with no cost. So I'm going to use the certbot as our like an SSL provider. And whenever you are like using it with certbot, then your like domain name needs to point to the that server. Means in case like this domain name is not pointing to my server, then certbot will not uh, like give me certificate. Now my domain name is pointing to the my server, then certbot will give me the certificate. Click on the enter your email address. On the enter again. Yes, is to say yes to the term and conditions. Then click on the yes. Now it's requesting the SSL certificate for us. So here you can see, so certbot has successfully deployed the certificate for our website. So let me just show you what happened when I have executed that certbot command. So previously this file I have only created, but certbot additionally created this file. So what this file contains, let me just show you. So this file is not created by this file, created by the certbot. So this is the this till this section this was created by me, but certbot added these components like our SSL certificate, then SSL certificate key, and this let's include folder. So that's how certbot will automatically created 443 means HTTPS file for us. So we are good with this configuration. Let me just go to the browser and show you. Enter again. So you can see here like an certificate is successfully like an added, and here you can in the validity period you will see today it is 18 Jan 2025, and it is certificate is valid to the 18 April 2025, means for the 3 months period only. After the 3 months you can renew it, or you can create some webhooks to renew the certificate. Let me just log in and show you the web application. So in the GitHub repository I have added this login password also, username and password. This is the username and this is the password is the admin 1234. So here you can see this is the our like an vendor management application, or kind of e-commerce application where you have like a list of brands and categories and all these things. So if you wanna explore this, you can explore. I'm not like an my main motto is to like give you an overview about this, how this application means Laravel deployment works. So if you are interested, you can go through this. So this is the complete video about the Laravel deployment on an AWS with the SSL implementation. So we have successfully created this architecture. Uh, Now in the next video, we'll add the load balancer. I'm going to use the same like a code website. So we'll next video we will migrate our application to the load balancer. So hope you guys have understood all these things about the deployment, and if you like got some information from this video, helpful information from this video, then please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. This is only the part one. Then the second part will be the more interesting. So I'm not a theoretical person. I just want to say you all the people who's watching this video, I'm not coming from I'm not good at like communication and theoretical particles. So if you wanna like read some theoretical, then you can go through documentation or any other videos. But my videos are like completely dedicated to the practical thing, and it is like kind of like my videos are like a live deployment. So that's I just wanna say to you all guys. Maybe my theoretical skills means my communication skills, you are not getting all this point very clearly, but that's I just want to say. Thank you for the watching the video. If you have any doubt, any issues, please let me in the comment section, and thank you for the watching this video.